review another beer now, or taste another beer. I have to say today's been a rather shit day. I bottled the harvest lagers that I did and used the WLP 300 yeast, the wheat yeast that I used from the extract kit that I washed out. And I hopped that with some Amarillo and added some crystal malt on that. But as most of you know, I don't bottle at home, I bottle at my mum's house, and I have to take all my equipment with me, or most of it. I need to dry out when I bring it home, stuff like that, hoses and whatnot. And I'm beginning to think that the auto siphon, the little one, is really good for wines and things like that, but the large one is actually quite shit for using on sort of batches of beer and that, particularly so when it's got hops in it and that. And as much as that little black thing on the end is meant to block hops and that, it's shit, to be honest. They need to rethink the design. It should be more of like a cage or something, like not a wire cage, but it's more of a mesh kind of thing, because the hops get up on the inside and they do get stuck on that little black bit. Everyone sort of ends up dislodging in their auto siphon and that. And to be honest, I have more better results using just a plain bit of hose and that. But I kind of bought into the whole thing that, oh, it's easier, it's more hygienic, you don't put your mouth over the hose and that. But at the end of the day, using just a plain hose worked. And it's just made life fucking hell today, and it's just brought me to the point, that and a few other things when I was bottling, because I hate bottling anyway, and it's the only option I've got at the moment. The first time in probably the 2 years that I've been brewing, I've considered not bothering brewing, to be honest. I thought, what is the point? Why am I doing it? That and the heat didn't help. It was 40 or 39 degrees in the garage, while the beer was nice and cool and that, fermenting or whatever, at 20 degrees in the fridge. I was sweating buckets. It was just, the sweat was pissing off me. It was just a shitty time to bottle. And then when stuff starts going wrong, I just got to the point where I thought, is it worth even carrying on bottling? I mean, I racked about 18 litres, and I didn't feel like any more was going to cut the siphon and that, so I stopped where it was, bottled what I could, and it was just kicking up so much sediment that if it hadn't been a wheat beer, it would have probably had the biggest sediment in the bottom of the bottle that any beer has ever had. But luckily, as it's a wheat beer and some of the yeast is meant to go in anyway, it doesn't really matter. But I still had about 4 litres left in the fermenting vessel, mixed around with hops and that, and the auto siphon weren't doing nothing. So in the end, I just decided to pour it straight through a sieve, leave all the hops behind, but only bottle those last sort of 4 litres on their own and mark them up. So to be honest, they look like yeast samples in bottles, just cloudy as anything and look really nasty and that. But I thought, rather than waste it, it's just not. I just couldn't bear it anymore. And I've already had a couple of beers tonight, and the only way to chill them down, because I ain't got no room in my fridge, was to put some ice cubes in them. I don't know if many other people put. I've never put ice cubes in my beer before, but as it was a wheat beer, it seemed to work. But enough of the waffling. I'm going to try Hanworth Homebrew's cider. He's given me 2 ciders. I'm not sure which one this is. I know he's given me a Cascade cider and a cinnamon cider, which he says he couldn't taste the cinnamon in, which was interesting because I wanted to do a cinnamon cider and didn't know if you'd be able to taste it. I think he just used cinnamon sticks. I was discussing with him the other day whether you could get the taste in there, if you could get a cinnamon essence or use like the actual cinnamon in a powder form rather than the actual stick. Lovely and clear, got nice carbonation. I was tempted to chuck some ice in this, but if I'm honest, I don't really have my ice in ciders and that. Straight away, this is the Cascade one, definitely. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. It definitely makes me think. I know Uncle Joe hasn't drunk my cider I sent out to him. I didn't send it out to many other people because I think it tastes like absolute shit. That's no disrespect to you, Jonah, but I know you like your ciders flat and that, and it didn't carbonate at all, so it was flat as anything. But my one, the Amarillo one, I think I put 50 grams of hops for the 4.5 litres, and it was just, I don't know, it's just weren't nice. This is lovely, like Ben's ciders I've had before and that. This is just really nice, rounded. You still get the apple, but you get the cascade. But my Amarillo is just overpowering. It's almost like drinking or chewing a fruit cocktail sweet, which sounds quite nice, but my one just comes across as a bit, I don't know, it comes across as thin as well. I think I had the only trouble I do with mine is adding extra sugar into mine, which I think isn't always needed. I don't know if Darren just used just the apple juice in this and then fermented it out. I know a lot of people do, but on most of mine I tended to add a little bit of extra sugar to bump the ABV up. But I think it can thin it out a little bit. On my latest batch that I've done, I've copied Ben's recipe, the strawberry cider. Used the Ribena, done the glycerin and all that lot, which I've never really done before. Just really kept it simple. But you know, one that I had from Ben was fantastic. Jonah's one that I had was great. I mean, and this one's fantastic, especially after a really shit day. It's nice to have a nice, refreshing, cold one. That's really nice. I've got to try and make my own one again, hop cider. Making my own one, then it turning out shit really put me off. But everyone else's seems to come out fine, so I think it was just maybe too much hops, not enough carbonation. That is lovely. That is really, really nice. And on a hot day like today, you really can't go wrong with that. Cascade is a lovely hop. But yeah, I think I might do a Cascade one, I think. It's my next one. That's the other thing with hops. I weren't sure whether totally switching to pellet hops with the whole thing with the siphon and that, because all the kits that I've had where you get the hops with it, they come with the pellet form. When racking off with them, I've never had any trouble at all. I mean, even today I used the little filter bag you get with the festival kits on the end of the siphon hose that goes into the bucket. The auto siphon in the thing, a couple of pumps, or one pump even, and it was normally straight in. Any bits of hot mat that do come through get caught in the bag and that. But today it just got clogged like anything. It was just a nightmare. One of the worst racking things ever. And I kind of think that if it had just been a normal hose, yeah, it would have sucked up a lot of hops, but they would have just got caught in the bag on the other end. But it's almost like that little black thing that's meant to stop hops retains them there and just makes life harder. Just someone needs to invent a better auto siphon, I think, for the purpose of racking out when you've got hops in anyway. Because for wines and that, it's fine. There's never any of that crap in there that you're gonna suck up. You're only gonna suck up a tiny little bit of the yeast if you're going right near the bottom. But there's never gonna be any hops in there unless you're doing a hop wine, I suppose. But you ain't gonna have that trouble. But for racking off purposes of that, and then the only other thing I've been reading about using the hot pellets and that is there's pros and cons to them. Apparently that you need less when you use hot pellets than you do hot flowers and whatnot, and then that's just a whole other mind fuck that you've got to worry about. And it's just, I don't know, today's been far too stressful, so I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. Cheers, Darren. That's another fantastic hop cider, I have to admit. It is, they are really nice when they're done well. I obviously don't do them very well, so, but this is beautiful. Cheers, mate.